Hi, everyone, and welcome back to the show. We are getting started today with our Wellness and Weight Loss Wednesday episode, where every Wednesday we are bringing you a body transformation, wellness-based topic where, yes, we can help you to boost your metabolism, we can help you to lose weight, we can help you to get in great shape, but always by getting your body healthier. Remember, a healthy body can't be overweight. It just can't. A healthy body can't be sick. There are always underlying root cause imbalances keeping you from your goal, whether again it be wellness-based, autoimmune, whatever it might be, weight loss or anti-aging. There's a reason right now holding you back from achieving your wellness, weight loss, anti-aging goals. And our goal in the Cabral concept is to peel back the onion, go deep on those layers, and actually show you what it might be. Well, today's episode is about iron, right? That mineral, that nutrient iron that is absolutely crucial for your metabolism and thyroid. Now, a lot of people would say, well, how does iron have anything to do with your thyroid? Well, we're going to go into that today, and actually the 3 ways that your thyroid is going to function without it. So you're not going to be able to produce that T4, T3 hormone without iron, and also other ways in which it begins to help the process of absorption and metabolism. So we're going to go into all of those topics here today. Really excited for you to be joining the show because remember, every single episode, my goal is, yes, it should be one in and of itself. So we're going to share with you what might be holding you back, and then the reason why, and then what you can do about it. And it's its own self-contained topic, but each and every episode, my goal is to also build off previous ones. So if you want to learn more about your thyroid, there's a lot more free podcasts on this particular topic just at stephencabral.com/podcasts and simply click on that thyroid-based topic, right? At the top, scroll through the images, you'll find one on healing the thyroid. So there's that. And then also always keep in mind, anybody that wants to go deeper on their health, I'm creating specific health results accelerators in order to enable you to go deep on your health. So you're always welcome to check those out as well at stephencabral.com/courses. All right. So what I want to share with you today, though, is why iron and symptoms of why you might be low is affecting your thyroid and your metabolism. All right, so let's dive right into it. For the main symptoms, again, whether you're a health coach, health practitioner, doctor, or yourself looking at, well, maybe I have low iron. Let's take a look at that beyond blood work, right? So obviously you can run blood work with your PCP to see if you have low iron, right? You can look at total iron binding capacity, you can look at UIBC, you can look at ferritin, you can look at transferritin. So those are great numbers to look at, but let's look at the symptoms for right now. Because a lot of people are dealing with what's called subclinical or functionally low levels of iron, meaning like their body's not in a disease state yet, but they're absolutely feeling the effects of lower iron. So let's look at this form. People, for the most part, with low iron are going to be dealing with fatigue, muscle weakness, like a lack of strength, kind of a difficult to get going and moving throughout the day. Sounds like a lot of low thyroid people, right? What about paler skin, right? Kind of poor circulation of the face and the skin. Kind of sounds, again, like low thyroid. Sometimes there'll be shortness of breath, headaches, dizziness, lightheadedness. Not as much thyroid issues there. Thyroid's definitely dealing with more of the brain fog, so there is that for sure, but there's absolutely some overlap. Cold hands and feet. How many people do you know that have cold hands and feet? Many, many people, right? So yes, there's Raynaud's and there's a bunch of other issues as well, but one of the hallmark signs of lower thyroid is cold hands and feet, right? Thinning of the hair, thinning of the eyebrow. A lot of that is with low thyroid. All right, so let's get back to that low iron again. Inflammation or kind of a swollen tongue. In Ayurveda, and I believe I did a previous podcast on tongue diagnosis. I do hope that you check out that show. Maybe we can link it up today at, what's today's show? 1734? Let's see. Yes, stephencabral.com/1734 is today's show. Head on over to stephencabral.com/1734. You can follow along and also check out all the links right there. So inflammation in a swollen tongue. That's why I look at people's tongues when we do that initial consultation. I want to say, is that tongue swollen? Is there scalloping on the edges? And again, that swollen tongue can absolutely be part of a low iron-based diagnosis. When we're looking at brittle nails, right? It could be zinc, sure, could be calcium, but also can be low iron. Cravings for certain things, especially in children, like dirt or ice. That's a bigger one. We want to look at that. And then oftentimes in children, lower appetite. That could be low zinc, it can be low stomach acid, H. pylori. Like there's other reasons, but it can also mean low iron. So do I think that you should have your iron levels tested with your PCP? I do. And if they're on the lower side, do I think that you should eat more high iron foods or supplement? The answer is yes, I do. Let's be careful with the supplementation. I'll talk about that in just a moment. And again, of course, I'll give you the foods more towards the end as well. Okay, so let's say, are you dealing with a lot of the fatigue, the lightheadedness, the dizziness, the muscle weakness, the poor circulation, the cold hands and feet? Are these things that you're struggling with right now? And if you are, well, it's possible that they're just low thyroid symptoms, or they're low thyroid symptoms also because you have low iron. And so that's really what I want to drive home today, is that it's not typically a one-size-fits-all approach. So when we're helping people to rebalance their body, we're doing that through the de-stress protocol, right? We're doing it through the diet, the exercise, stress reduction, toxin removal, rest and sleep, emotional balance, supplement protocols, and that success mindset in order for you to never relapse back, right? So remember, there's not a one-size-fits-all approach, but there are foundational-based protocols that you need to follow. You really do. And that's because no matter how much you want it to happen from a mindset standpoint, no matter like how much necessarily, let's say, green juicing you do. And again, I'm not against, I'm all for mindset, and I'm all for, good quality vegetable juices, but it's not really going to make the difference if you have a specific nutrient deficiency, right? Like you can want to get better, but if you have low zinc, you're not going to get better. Right? And I talked about that on yesterday's show. So important, right? And if your thyroid is low and you're trying to figure out why, and you've already used other things and it's still low, it could be because it's iron, right? There's always a reason why. I try to drive this home, is that there's always a reason why. You just haven't figured it out quite yet. That's all. That's always the issue, right? In any part of our life. Again, I'll go back to it, but it's relationships or career, or it's our body transformation, or it's our health, or it's our spirituality. There's always an answer. We have an answer. We just haven't found it yet. I mean, when I got sick at 17 years old, the answer was there, is how to get well. I just didn't find it for 10 years, right? I mean, I learned a lot along the way. And it's not like I could just meet my mentor again at 27 years old and be like, oh, this is it. It's I learned things to even get me to her. And then she was the one who pulled it together for me. And then that's what I'm trying to do, is simply say, I'm going to take this to the next level and I'm going to pay it forward just like you did for me. And that's why I hope, many of you become an IHP and pay it forward as well. Like that's the ultimate goal. It's like, let's figure it out for ourselves and let's teach it others. That's why if anybody's listening right now and they are a health coach, or they don't have any thyroid issues, well, I applaud you more than I applaud anybody else, because you're listening because you want to educate yourself on all parts of health. And you know that someone else in your life, 1 out of 5 women and 1 out of 10 men, are going to end up with thyroid issues. So you'll know how to better help them, and you'll understand why iron could be one of those things that's extremely helpful. So, okay, here's what I want to share with you as well. Just 2 caveats before we move forward, because again, I'm making iron to sound like this great nutrient and mineral, which it is. But you can absolutely overdo iron, and when you overdo it, it becomes oxidative. Okay, so men are at the most risk, and postmenopausal women. And the reason why postmenopausal women and men are at the most risk is they can build up iron in the blood with hemochromatosis, and that actually becomes quite oxidative. And so that's not a good thing. And the reason is that they don't have a menstrual cycle. So they're not getting rid of a lot of that blood every single month. But a lot of children for sure, but also menstruating women have to be far more careful again with these lower levels of iron. Okay. So again, but a man can have low iron, and a postmenopausal woman can have low iron. So everyone should be at least aware of it, and we can test. We can obviously look at these things. So let's go through, though, now quick overview again of how the thyroid works, and then where iron's role is in all of this process. So let's say that your body gets the signals under higher stress or whatever it might be to temporarily at least boost those thyroid levels. Okay. Well, what happens is the hypothalamus, pretty much always the key first player, after it gets input from the rest of the body to start to produce hormone that's going to get the thyroid pituitary gland itself to tell the thyroid to make hormone. Okay, so pituitary gland is going to release that TSH. That's the one that's typically looked at on blood work, but it's not the end all be all. If you're only looking at TSH and you're not measuring T3, free T3, and you're not measuring free T4, and you're not measuring TPO antibodies, I think you're missing something. I really do. Tough to tell the health of your thyroid without measuring those, and I would say even along with cortisol. So that's why I can't recommend enough that stress hormones, mood, and metabolism test. I mean, I just can't recommend it enough. It's going to get to the bottom of a lot of what you're dealing with, but I digress. So your pituitary gland secretes TSH. We see TSH. Okay, it hits the thyroid. The thyroid says, what do I need to do next? I need to produce some thyroid hormone. The brain is telling me to produce thyroid hormone because that's what the body needs, right? So there's that feedback loop, positive feedback loop. The body needs more thyroid. So the thyroid begins to create T4. It's some T3 as well. A lot of people think that the thyroid doesn't create any T3. It's not actually true. The majority of it's T4 though, and that's thyroxine. So with that thyroxine, the body then is able to circulate that within the body, and then inside of the liver and other cells of the body, we can start to manufacture active T3, which is triiodothyronine. So once we have that, okay, now we feel all the opposite, right? The good circulation, the good body fat burning, less brain fog, more energy, more strength, right? All of those great things that we want, better metabolism overall. Well, the thyroid is a big part of that. So that's what we want, of course. That's the end goal. Now, how thyroid helps in this particular process is in 3 specific ways. So you heard me mention from the pituitary gland to the thyroid, we have got TSH, then we've got the thyroid hormone production inside that thyroid, then we've got T4, and then it leads to T3. T3 oftentimes manufactured through the cells throughout the body. So when we look at that, iron actually helps in thyroid production. So that means that it is actually helping to make that majority of the T4. So we know that without iron, just like without iodine, it's going to be really difficult to be able to make thyroid hormone. And I would say the same goes for tyrosine, but we'll talk about that on another show. So that's the first way, is that iron actually helps in the production, the manufacturing of our thyroid hormone in the first place. The second way is that iron works with zinc and selenium as cofactors to help convert T4 to T3. So we've got that thyroxine being converted to the triiodothyronine, and the way that that's actually happening are through certain cofactors which have two different properties in the body. So those help with the enzymatic transformation of that, but they also help with one other factor, that both of those are very powerful antioxidants, especially selenium. And selenium helps with the thyroid essentially not going under too much oxidative stress, not self-destructing because of the actual production of thyroid in the first place. But again, this podcast is not about selenium. You can check out my previous podcasts on the minerals that your body needs specifically for the thyroid. Of course, check out the Health Results Accelerator at stevencabral.com/courses. All right, so that's the second way, is it actually helps with the conversion from T4 to T3. Really, really important. Now, there's one more, and the enzyme is called deiodinase. You can always tell, again, sometimes the medical literature becomes maybe a little bit confusing at times, but when you're reading studies or you're reading articles and you see that ASE at the end of a word, oftentimes, it can mean that it's an enzyme. So, for example, when we want to break down fats in the body, we use lipase. When we want to break down vegetable-based fiber in the body, we use cellulase. There's obviously more than one type, but this is for an example. If we want to break down proteins, our body uses proteases. If our body wants to break down, what's another one? Lactose and dairy products, our body uses lactase. So you can see that ASE at the end. That's going to help you to look at it to see if it's an enzyme or not. Well, this enzyme, our body has to manufacture. It has to actually create an iron is a part of that, right? Zinc is a part of it as well, but iron is a part of it. And what it allows it to do is that deiodinase actually takes an iodine molecule off of that T4, helping us to make active T3. So iron is crucial in all three of those processes. The production, the actual conversion from T4 to T3, and I would say in the enzymatic process as well, which is part of the conversion, but it's a slightly different part. So this is why we can, again, never look at the thyroid as being it's just genetics, right? It's just my genetics, so something's wrong. Well, sure, maybe everyone in your family is genetically prone to using up their stores of zinc too fast, or using up or being more prone to anemia or lower iron. There's always a reason why. And so if you are low in iron, what I'm trying to show you is that this could be a piece of the puzzle that you need in order to truly heal. And it's not that difficult, right? Because you can get good iron in your diet, whether it be from vegan sources or whether it be from animal-based products. I'm going to go through a couple of those right now, but then I'm also going to link up at today's StephenCabral.com/1734. So head over to StephenCabral.com/1734 for a previous podcast I did on different forms of iron as well, and the absorption of vegan versus non-vegan forms, and kind of breaking down those different debates. Because remember, I have no dog in the race. I support people who are on a fully vegan diet. I support people that are on paleo diet. I support people that are on keto diet. Whatever diet they're on, I'm always trying to help them achieve a state of equilibrium. That is our goal, right? Achieving equal life or achieving equilibrium. That is how those two essentially companies got formed. It's like, what can we do in order to help people with all of these underlying root causes? And that's always been the goal. It always has been the goal for about 20 years. We're getting better and better, and we're reaching more and more people around the world. So first things first, let me talk about the supplement path. Okay. So we recommend a specific product, not by our company, Equilife, because remember, our job at Equilife is to create the best products possible. And if there's already a great product in the market, we simply promote other brands. Every Friday, you hear me promote at least one or two other brands, right? So I really try to stand biased. What I'm saying is the products that we create, I believe, are the very best. And then if we're not creating the very best, we recommend other brands. To me, that just makes sense. One, I don't believe in scarcity. The second is I like to lift this entire industry up, and I love promoting the work of other people. So I promote another brand that's a food-based iron. I really recommend this. If you're taking in a higher dosage, a small amount of iron in a multivitamin, I'm okay with. I really am. Like, honestly, small amount of iron, I have no issues with at all. No issues at all. But if you're going to take a larger amount of iron, I believe that iron in the body can really create a lot of those reactive oxygen species and also create a lot of oxidative stress in the body. I don't think it's a great idea. So if it's food-based, though, your body knows how to better handle that in terms of iron. So this is why I recommend a food-based iron if you need to take a higher dosage. I can't link up from podcasts anymore. The FDA doesn't allow that. So you can head over to equi.life. That's just EQUI.LIFE. And you can just type in iron and it'll take you to the product we recommend. Again, it's not our product. It's another product. Here's how I recommend taking that. One capsule at breakfast and another capsule at lunch. One capsule at breakfast and another capsule at dinner mid-meal. If you are really low on iron, you might consider taking one at lunch as well. If you're in your last trimester of pregnancy, where most women are functionally anemic, that's when I recommend 2 or 3 tablets of that food-based iron. It's what I used with my wife when she had our 2 daughters, and we work with thousands of women pre, peri, and postnatal all the time. So I recommend it really starting at, let's say, month 6 for pregnancy. You might even start it earlier, depending on how your body, uniqueness of your body. And then I do recommend it 3 to 4 months after birth as well. So, okay, that's that. Again, men typically don't eat it. Postmenopausal women typically don't eat it. But if your blood work comes back, well, now you know what to do in terms of supplements. Now, everybody, though, can add higher iron foods to their diet. Again, there's always 99.9%. 0.1 is not going to be able to because of people with hemochromatosis, inability to get that iron out of their blood, etc. Those people need to give blood, need to be working specifically with a practitioner or doctor. Okay, so let's get to some of those vegan-based sources. Again, I'm going to link you up full podcast on this, but just to give you the short of it, here's what I like to do. Favorite vegan-based sources, dark leafy greens. Specifically, spinach and Swiss chard. You probably already heard of spinach, I know, but Swiss chard is another great one. And then 2 other ones that I like, beans and legumes. Black beans are one of my favorites. And then my absolute favorite are pumpkin seeds. No doubt about it, you get zinc and you get iron from pumpkin seeds. So, I mean, I'm throwing sprouted pumpkin seeds in my smoothie in the morning sometimes. I'll use pumpkin seed butter sometimes. So I'm an advocate for sure. I think it's a great product. Has a little different taste, but honestly, not a bad taste, a good taste. And if you mix it in with that smoothie, it'll be absolutely delicious. So you can just use, let's say, a tablespoon of those pumpkin seeds if you want, a cup or two of your dark leafy greens every day, and then certainly you can add a half a cup or so of black beans or other legumes. Okay, so those are some vegan-based sources. There's, of course, more. We'll talk about those. We'll link those up in just a moment. Okay, now what about animal-based products? Well, of course, red meat. Okay, red meat is going to have iron in it, and it does work. A lot of people say, "Oh, red meat doesn't work." It's not. Well, it does, because I can show you from a clinical perspective it does. But I'm not saying you need to eat it. But I will also say it does. Now, if you're going to eat red meat, be careful, right? We don't want to go overboard with that for sure. And I would say absolutely make sure that it's grass-fed, grass-finished. Just about 2 weeks ago on a Friday review, I talked about how devious a lot of these big farm companies are, and big pharma food companies are, big agro companies. And they'll feed their cows grass some of the time, but they also feed them grain. And technically, they're allowed to say then that's grass-fed, because they do give them some grass, but they don't tell you that they're grain-fed as well. Not good, very deceptive. So just make sure you know your local farmer or that it's completely grass-fed. Okay, we have poultry, turkey. Those are sources of iron. We have shellfish. Okay, that's a big one. Something like oysters could be one. I think clams are another, but again, I'll try to link that up for you. But shellfish for sure is one of those. And then those are the main ones. There's a little bit of egg as well, but those are the main ones. You'd have to get the yolk, but I would go with those if you're looking for more of a animal-based source. And you can have both. It's not like you can't have both. You can, right? So if you choose to have a predominantly plant-based diet like I do and still eat a little bit of meat, then you can absolutely get both. And I think that's great. So hopefully this was helpful. I think it's one more piece of the puzzle, right? People are always trying to figure out, 1 in 5 women, 1 in 10 men, how do we fix this whole thyroid imbalance? Well, you fix it by knowing all the different pieces of the puzzle. And when you understand all of the missing minerals, all of the missing vitamins, and all of the toxins that affect your thyroid, you can absolutely replace those minerals. You can actually do it pretty quick. And you can remove those toxins as well. That will happen over a period of 3 to 12 weeks or so. So hopefully this is helpful. As I said, many more links, many more podcasts at stephencabral.com/1734 is today's episode. And then, of course, if you want the whole thyroid experience, completely A to Z, how to fix your thyroid in a day, literally, you can go to stephencabral.com/courses and just check on the Health Results Accelerator, the one called Thyroid Rebalancing. Hopefully this was helpful. Thank you so much for tuning into the show. I appreciate you. And as always, if this was helpful, please do feel free to share it with anyone else you believe it could serve.